I remember when I thought my worth was tied to my title CEO of a $1 billion tech empire surrounded by skyscrapers glistening with ambition. It all seemed perfect, but there I was, a guy who counted profits and sacrificed personal connections for efficiency. People called me ruthless, even cold, but I wore that badge like a crown, believing it came with success. Sure, I was the one everyone envied, but deep down, I feared that I was losing something far more valuable: trust. I had a wonderful assistant, Maya Williams, who kept the gears turning while I chased the next big deal. But I hardly noticed her quiet struggles, the tremors in her hands, the way she pushed through fatigue just to keep up with an unyielding pace I set. I took her for granted, thinking she was just efficient, just another cog in the machine. And then one phone call shattered that illusion. Ethan, it's about Maya. She's in critical condition. Suddenly, all the charts and margins I obsessed over faded into the background, replaced with a surge of panic and guilt. I was her emergency contact, and I had no idea how much she was really fighting behind the scenes. That moment, standing at the edge of that hospital room, was the beginning of a turning point I never saw coming. A journey toward understanding that true leadership is about so much more than just the bottom line. It's about the people behind it. I sat there in my office, the polished mahogany desk, reflecting the skyline through the glass walls, my empire laid out like a glorious tapestry of success. But it all felt so hollow. The sound of a knock shattered my thoughts. It was Maya, that ever-reliable assistant of mine, breathless and weary. "Ethan, can we talk?" she whispered, her voice barely a thread in the buzz of the office. "Make it quick. I'm swamped," I replied, my eyes glued to the spreadsheet on my screen. Little did I know that moment was the calm before an all-consuming storm. One that would expose everything I had buried beneath layers of ambition. Days rolled on, and then came the call. The hospital's grim echo caught me off guard. Maya's in critical condition, they said. My heart plummeted. I'd built walls around myself so high I hadn't even seen the cracks in her. "What happened?" I pressed, trying to catch my breath, feeling a lump in my throat. I didn't understand Maya was just my assistant, right? That night, as I watched her lie there in the harsh fluorescent light, I was engulfed by a wave of shame. All those moments I dismissed her fatigue, her evasive smiles. "You must tell me if you're feeling unwell," I'd said, yet it was a hollow gesture. She always brushed it off, never wanting to be a burden. But now the truth was laid bare. The burden was mine. Then in the starkness of that ICU room, I overheard two nurses talking. It's tough for employees like her, always keeping it hidden. They didn't know me well, but somehow their words struck a painful chord. A brutal realization coursed through me. I had a responsibility beyond just managing numbers. So I stood there, conflicted, yet resolute. "I'll cover her medical expenses. And I'll make this right," I muttered. And as I said those words, a part of me hoped to find redemption. But somewhere deep inside the question remained, was I ready to fight for her, or just trying to extinguish the flames of guilt before they could send me whole? You know, the hospital room felt like a scene straight out of a bad soap opera. There I was, standing at the ICU door, drenched in guilt and barely keeping my composure. And what did I see? Just a nurse shaking her head and muttering something about another one clearly not impressed with my billionaire status. You'd think money could buy a little compassion, but apparently it just gets you a raised eyebrow and a dose of reality. Maya was lying there, delicate and vulnerable, battling her own invisible enemy, while I wrestled with mine, my own failure to truly see her struggle. I mean, how could I have been so blind? I was licensed to be a full-on jerk, but somehow I never signed up for this level of introspection. But here I was, turning over every moment in my mind. All those times I barked orders, instead of asking if she was okay. No wonder she deemed herself just a cog in my corporate machine. And the irony. While I was pledging to cover her medical bills like some kind of modern-day Robin Hood, I was met with a flood of skepticism from the board. "What do you mean you're taking care of one of your employees?" they said, as if I suggested we use the company jet for a weekend jaunt to Vegas. Believe me, it was not a good look. The side eye was real, and their hesitation felt as palpable as the sterile air around us. But every setback ignited this tiny fire in me. Sure, I was a billionaire, but here I was navigating the messy human side of things with a grasp of, well, very little. If I could face rebuffs from my board, then maybe, just maybe, I could muster the courage to confront the systemic issues plaguing my company. Change was going to happen whether they liked it or not. I was inexperienced in trust, but I was determined to figure it out. Doubt. Sure, it was looming large, but guess what? I had a spark now. A relentless, nagging sense that there was more to life than quarterly profits. And Maya, she wasn't just my assistant anymore. She was my reason to get it right. In the swirling chaos of obstacles, I felt the pulse of something real growing more vibrant with every challenge we faced together. If there was a storm ahead, we'd face it together. And honestly, what could be scarier than confronting my own blind spots? Maybe the breakthrough wouldn't just be about fixing the company. It could be about fixing me. Ethan's heart raced as he sat by Maya's bedside. Her breathing was steady, but there was a storm brewing inside him. He had built his empire on cold calculations, on profits that eclipsed humanity. "Why didn't I see you?" he whispered, fighting back the weight of regret. Maya stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, confusion etched across her face. "Ethan." Her voice was weak, yet filled with questions, a mirror to his own turmoil. He took a breath, the air thick with unspoken truths. I wasn't there for you, Maya. I thought results mattered more than the people behind them." She averted her gaze, tears pooling. "I didn't want to burden you." Burden. The very word sliced through him. He clenched his fists, realization dawning, like the sun breaking through the clouds. "You've never been a burden. You've carried more weight than anyone I know." Their eyes locked, pain and vulnerability intermingled. He felt the spark of something greater. "Trust," he continued softer now, "isn't just given. It's built. I want to earn yours." Maya paused, uncertainty flickering in her gaze. "I don't expect you to change overnight," she whispered. "I've learned to protect myself." A moment hung between them. What if? What if he truly allowed himself to be seen, to be vulnerable too? He leaned closer. "Let's build this together. Not just you and me, but with all those we've overlooked." A flicker of hope ignited in her eyes, a fragile ember ready to catch fire. "I'll support you," he vowed. "Let's break the silence together." The storm inside him stilled. He was no longer just a CEO. He was a partner, a friend. Ethan felt the dawn of a new era rising not just for Maya, but for everyone in his world. This was the turning point, a moment where trust could blossom from the ashes of despair. And in that quiet room, strength began to unfurl. As the boardroom doors swung open, tension crackled in the air like static electricity. The intimidating steel table gleamed under the fluorescent lights, a silent witness to the unfolding battle. Ethan stood tall, flanked by supportive employees, his heart pounding with a resolute strength he never knew he possessed. He could almost hear Maya's voice in his ear, urging him to stand firm, reminding him of the importance of compassion over corporate politics. "I will not let you silence her," he stated clearly, each word a shield against the backlash echoing from the board members. There was a fire in his eyes, one that had emerged from the ashes of guilt and transformation. The ultimatum hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. This is bigger than profit margins. It's about people. Maya deserves a voice. In that moment, everything clicked. The wheels of change began to turn. Cameras flashed as reporters arrived, capturing Ethan's fierce defense of Maya, spilling headlines proclaiming billionaire CEO chooses integrity over profit. That quiet smirk played on his lips. He finally understood the power of trust and unity, the strength to uplift, not just to dominate. Days later, seated across from Maya in a quaint coffee shop, Ethan shared another milestone. He slid a crumpled piece of paper across the table. The Maya Williams Legacy Room was now a reality. The soft glow from the setting sun illuminated her eyes, a mixture of surprise and gratitude washing over her face. They exchanged a handshake that felt more like a pact one built on mutual respect and shared dreams. Ethan knew this victory didn't erase the scars they carry, the battles they had fought. But in those scars lay a strength that made every struggle worth it. They both understood that true triumph was not just about winning, but about the journey together. A path they would walk side by side, redefining what it means to lead with heart. As we conclude this journey of transformation, we must ask ourselves, what does it mean to wield power in a world often motivated by profit over people? Ethan Cross, once solely driven by ambition, learned that success is hollow without trust and connection. His relationship with Maya shifted from one of distance to partnership, illuminating a profound lesson. True, leadership is not about dominance, but about empowerment and compassion. Throughout their trials, Maya embodied resilience, fighting not just for her own justice, but for the voices that had long been suppressed. In confronting systemic inequity, she showed that standing up for what is right can invite scrutiny and backlash. But what do we do with that reality? Is revenge against those who wronged us ever justified as a form of justice, or does it deepen the wounds we seek to heal? This moral ambiguity challenges us. Failure can propel us forward, just as trust can bind us in solidarity. So I wonder, are we better off seeking revenge or channeling our energies into building something new? In the end, the creation of the Maya Williams Legacy Room serves as a powerful reminder that lasting change blooms from empathy and courage. It dares us to reflect: what kind of legacy are we crafting through our choices? Share your thoughts below. What has your journey taught you about trust, power, or the impulse for revenge? Your experiences matter, and this dialogue can be the first step toward understanding our collective futures.